Welcome back to No Sugar, no sugar nista, no sugar mama. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Sugar, another episode. Happy Tuesday. We are coming to you virtual, I guess. Yeah, we are back on our streaming business as well as at school. I'm at home, so we're gonna, play around with going back to the virtual, which is kind of a weird experience, honestly, now that I'm used to being in person.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't really know how it's going to be.
Like, I don't know how to interact with you over
Zoom, I feel like it looks like. And we also don't have headphones today, but that's just because I forgot a piece of equipment. So,
yeah. Well, we're missing a piece because we're not used to the setup because we haven't done this in so long. Like, I forgot that we even did this setup. Like, it's funny because even when we were first starting out and we only did StreamYard is what we use. I remember I said so many times, like, we can't figure out the audio not on StreamYard, and now I can't figure out the audio on StreamYard.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Even though we've already done this. Yeah, so just bear with us, but that's kind of going to be, I feel like, how it's going to go for us with Isabel at school. Like, some might be in person when Isabel comes home, if we have time to record, get a recording done, and then some might be virtual. So being able to do both, but I'm happy that we have both set up because now it's nice to have flexibility in how we record.
Yep.
Anyway, so today we want to talk about kind of how to get through self-doubt, negative thoughts like about yourself and your life, and just kind of changing those thoughts around to not play this like victim mentality almost, or not show up for yourself because you have self-doubt or you don't think that you can do something, and just working through the motions of like how to get through having negative thoughts about yourself, no matter if it's about your job, in the gym, your appearance, your hair, your skin, any aspect of your life, kind of working through those emotions that a lot of people deal with. And even top performers have dealt with this once in their life and might still deal with this.
Yeah. And that's what I was about to say too. Like, the thing about self-doubt is that it is so applicable in many aspects in our life, but also even when you're performing at the highest level, even when you are uber successful, there are still moments of self-doubt, just still moments of wondering what if I couldn't do it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's human nature, that's natural, but obviously that's why it's so hard to work through and to kind of overcome. But even the most successful people do it. So we are trying to get to that level too.
Exactly. And like we said in the beginning, we're trying to get from point A to point B and bring you guys along with us. So I guess now what people call it is almost like imposter syndrome, which I don't fully understand. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I experience imposter syndrome, so
I don't
not gonna really touch on that term, but
yeah, I don't think I resonate with
yeah, like,
syndrome.
I see it so much these days, and I'm not saying it's not warranted for people to feel or valid, but maybe my version of it is just like self-doubt. I don't know. Like, I'm not ever in a position where I'm like,
what do people feel? I'm confused.
I think imposter syndrome is more of like, okay, for example, me, I'm teaching yoga, right? So I'm up there teaching a class and I'm like, this shouldn't be me up here.
Oh.
Like, I don't feel like I'm qualified to be here, or
LOL, my oh.
yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. And that could be so
Really
wrong. Like,
weird.
someone listening, if they actually know what it is, are probably like, that's a little wrong, Kateri, but it's fine. Like, we're just
So we won't touch on imposter syndrome because clearly we are not
maybe I
educated on
should
it.
just cut that out. Maybe that we should. I don't know. But anyway, so going into negative thoughts, I feel like Isabel and I have conversations with each other a lot of when we have negative thoughts about ourselves. And I'm very grateful to have my best friend be able to like calm me down and kind of get me out of those thoughts. But in the end, it's me that has to walk myself like back off that ledge of spiraling into negative emotions. And it's so normal to have negative thoughts. Like, I struggle with, especially now where I am at in my career, I struggle a lot with feeling like I'm capable of doing what I'm doing right now, or
Yeah.
that I'm capable of building something bigger than what I'm doing right now. And a lot of my procrastination or not feeling like I'm getting anything done, like I talk a lot about not feeling organized. I think it all stems from having, that sliver of self-doubt that I'm not capable of doing it. So I'm just like procrastinating it because I truly don't feel like I can get there,
Yeah.
like I don't know how to get there. I don't know why I feel like I'm qualified. I don't have a degree in this or, just like the typical thoughts. But what I really try and tell myself, and I've said this before on this podcast, is who gave you the right to hold yourself back? Like,
Yeah.
why would you do that to yourself? You're your either your biggest cheerleader or your biggest enemy. So why not choose to be your own cheerleader and use
Exactly.
yourself to kind of step up in life? Like why are you going to
Yeah.
hold yourself back?
Well, and it's funny because most of the time, like our self doubt, like we're just proving it right when
Yeah.
we are choosing to believe in the self doubt. And I honestly think what doubt is like when you always tell me, Kateri, that a thought isn't a fact. Like
Mhm.
your thoughts, like not every thought you have is going to be true. And I feel like it's the same with self doubt, where not all of the doubts that you have are going to be true. Like you may be thinking you're not qualified, but that doesn't mean it has to be true. And then something like that could be the reason that you are holding yourself back and not achieving and not being your biggest cheerleader. So it's actively really making the decision to
Mhm.
choose to think otherwise. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like to choose to be the cheerleader and be like, no, why would I not be able to do this?
Mhm. No, that's so true. Like yeah, all your thoughts are in fact. So why are you going to believe the doubt? It's the same type of situation. And I feel like with self-doubt and kind of how to prove it wrong or prove yourself wrong or your own self-doubt wrong is okay, depending on what you're feeling doubtful about, like what are you trying to achieve and how can you achieve it? Like what's one step you can take towards achieving it that's going to build your confidence up. That's going to show yourself that, oh, I can do this because I just took the first step. And we've
Yeah.
talked about the first step a lot recently and just taking that first step. So proving to yourself like, no, I can get this done.
Yeah.
I am getting it done because I'm actively working towards it and no one's going to stop me.
And for me personally, I'm someone who definitely needs to take that approach that you just said, like taking actionable steps, I think, because when I start showing up for myself and start being like, oh, wow, I did that, that immediately increases my confidence. Like results obviously increase my confidence. But that's like how I'm wired. Like I need to
Mhm.
see an actual result, how I did it, that, okay, I did this, I did it well, to believe in myself almost.
Mhm.
And sometimes I can't tell if that's toxic and behavior, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh,
Mhm.
keep the promise to yourself and you took the action. So like now I believe in myself. Whereas I almost wish I just inherently
Mhm.
believe. And it's like it's hard because I do inherently believe in myself. Like I know I do. I would definitely say we don't have as much doubt as, others may have,
Mhm.
but there is still like those little slivers there. And I'm like, I wish I didn't need to prove the doubt wrong. I wish I could just like not think it,
Yeah,
if that
but
makes sense.
yeah, definitely, but at the same time we are human and
Yeah.
I always say that the negative thoughts or the self-doubt, that's the what I like to put in quotations, the program trying to bring you back to like a base level.
Mhm.
So when you're trying to become higher than that program or work towards your highest self, you're going to have thoughts that are going to try and bring you back to that comfort level norm, even though that norm might not be comfortable because you're like, I'm not making enough money or I want to work harder. I want to own my own business. Whatever that higher than that program is, you might want that more than what the base level is, but
Yeah.
it's it's that pull towards the negativity because sadly it's like what society kind of puts us in.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to get into that, but like the whole school system, everything is set to kind of bring you back to that program level. So you kind
It's
of
kind
need
they kind of build your life out to be that you can only do what you like what you've learned, what you
Mhm.
you know, what you got 100 on that test. Okay, well, Isabel, you're qualified to do MIS now.
Yeah,
Like, they
exactly.
kind of
So if
instill.
you try and do something that's above that or doesn't involve that degree that you're getting, it like your mind is going to try and bring you back. Well, maybe I should just go get a job in MIS then,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's what we're kind of taught to do. And I also think, and I say this a lot to you and to myself, that when you have negative thoughts, it's how you take them and how you change them around, and
Yeah.
constantly doing that so that every time a negative thought comes in, it becomes a habit for you to like switch it. And
Mhm.
more and more repetitive you get with that, you start to build that habit of negative thought, immediate good thought, and like
Yeah,
counterpart to it. How
yeah,
can I switch this? And it'll eventually get to the point where you don't even realize you're having the negative thought, because the second that sliver of doubt comes in your mind, it's immediately changed to something better.
yeah,
And you kind of kick it to the curb. And also, with you, like you said, with taking the action steps, the reason I think it's so good to do that is because the more you take those steps and the more reps you do, the more you go after something you want to go after, the more confident you get. So, like, the more repetitions you do, the more confidence you're going to gain. So then moving forward in 5 years, you're probably going to have way less self doubt than you do now, because over the next 5 years, you did so much to prove to yourself that I'm a confident human being and I'm capable of doing anything I set my mind to.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
No, and
you need to have those thoughts, and it's
that's
okay.
that's such a great point, and it's good for me to keep in the back of my head because like I just said, like, I am one to take the action steps, but it also just shows you, like, I think a common thought, maybe I have this, maybe others have it, is when I start to do something, sometimes I expect me to be the best at it right
Mhm,
away.
mhm.
And instead of being like, oh, okay, well, I can do it, 5 different times. I can launch 5 different podcasts. And then the fifth one may be the one where I fully feel confident and no
Mhm.
doubt. But it's normal to feel that doubt on the first one because you may have never done it before.
Yeah.
Like, it's it's what your mind goes to, and that's where the proving yourself wrong kind of comes into play as, like, a healthy way, because then it kind of forces you to, like, keep doing it and keep working at it, and when you
Mhm.
keep working at it, you ultimately shut that self-doubt down, and I
Yeah.
think it's you just brought that up to me, and I was like, "Wow, that's actually a good counter to, when I have doubt, it's normally because I wanna be the best right away, and that's
Mhm.
just not the way life is. It's a learning process, and you're always gonna be the worst the first time,
Yeah,
and that's
and
the
you
beauty of
want
it, is you're only going up from there.
exactly, like, you want to grow and get better, so if you're the best from the very beginning, it's like, how do you get better then? If
Yeah,
you think that you're already the best, right? Like, I think about sports. When I first threw a lacrosse ball, I sucked at it, and then by the
yeah,
time I got to college and was playing club, I was very good at lacrosse,
yeah.
but I didn't start excuse me. I didn't s It's like wild. I literally had a bubble, like, in my throat. I'm getting choked up about club lacrosse. Um, but I didn't start that way, like, it was all those years of practice and games that built up to that very moment, so you want that room to grow.
Yeah,
And also, I went to this event last night as well. Of course, I talked to you about this, but it was basically a networking event. I was there for the production of it with Jacob, but it was all women entrepreneurs. And so it was an amazing event for me to go to and just be a part of and kind of talk
yeah,
to these women and hear their stories and hear how they talk to each other. And the woman who hosted the event, she is truly incredible and doing amazing things. And she did kind of like a live podcast interview with a woman there. So both of them entrepreneurs, started their own companies, are like always changing and always evolving and building more companies as they grow. And they both talked about that self-doubt, and they both talked about feeling like that split second of, hmm, am I really capable of doing this? Like, who the heck gave me the thought that like I could be the one to change this
yeah,
or like make this big company that's going to do it different than the other big companies out there? And
yeah,
it was just good to hear, I think, from as woman as I saw, or and as I see as so successful and where I want to one day be in my life, still talk about that with each other. and
Yeah.
bounce that off of one another. And I like as soon as I heard it, when I was in the car at home, like I called Isabel because I was like, just being able to hear that other people kind of went through maybe what we're going through and they still have those emotions, it just makes everyone seem a little more human and it's normal and you don't feel like how come everyone else figured this out and I can't seem to figure it out and I can't seem to get through it because
Yeah.
they didn't figure it out. They just moved through it and that's what makes it seem like oh, they figured it out, but there's no figuring it out, it's just doing and keep
Yeah.
doing.
And the only difference I would say between, maybe them and where they are at in their journey with self-doubt and where we are is you said it, like it's a split second for them. It's
Mhm.
a like very quick thought, they have it, and like what you said earlier, they shut it down immediately and
Mhm.
they keep on going and they keep on succeeding. Whereas, we're very much in the growing process where we're really learning right now how to shut down that self-doubt like
Mhm.
immediately. Like
Yeah.
I do shut down my self-doubt. It will never kill my dreams personally. Like it's not a dream killer. I full-heartedly believe that I will be successful in what we want to do.
Mhm.
But it may be longer than a split second. It may be a night that I'm getting caught up in the self-doubt.
Mhm.
And that's when it gets a little dangerous because a whole night thinking that you can't do it starts to kind of convince yourself that,
Mhm.
okay, maybe you can't, or, and then you start to really, I don't know what I'm gonna say. And then you start to, stop taking the actionable steps or you stop
Mhm.
feeling motivated to even want to do it because you don't even really believe in yourself anymore.
Yeah.
I think self-doubt can be the biggest dream killer.
Mhm.
And it's important to get to the level of having it only be a split second in your life in
Mhm.
order for it not to affect you.
Well, and like I was listening to that self-doubt podcast that kind of sparked these thoughts in my mind, but having self-doubt really does cost you your peace
Mhm.
essentially. And like you were just saying, if you spend an entire night feeling those emotions, you don't feel at peace, you feel anxious, you feel stressed, overwhelmed, and like you said, you might not go take those actionable steps. So like I said too, like that's when I procrastinate and I don't take the steps and then I'm
Yeah.
not doing things that are building my confidence because my peace is being taken away by this doubt that I have in my mind, and that can lead down a very slippery slope and you don't want to stay on that for too long, but you kind of have to get there to be able to know where to build up from there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, it's that's what's so beautiful about the journey, I think, with self-doubt is that you kind of have to experience it to move forward from it. Like you just said,
Mhm.
like when I think of us and self-doubt or when I do have those negative thoughts, like it's a growing process right now for me, flipping the thought. I'm
Mhm.
probably at the stage where now I recognize every moment I do doubt myself. Whereas
Mhm.
earlier I would be saying the negative terms and wouldn't even hear it and it would kind of take you to correct me. And now
Mhm.
I feel like I'm fully at the point where it's like, oh no, I just said that. That was a negative thought. Like don't say that again.
Yeah.
What can I say to change it? It's
And
not
you're so good at that. You
it's
are
not
really good
natural
at,
yet,
like
but, like,
yeah.
that's the growing phase, and I can only get there because I had the moments of me just being fully giving into the doubt, if
Well,
that
and
makes sense.
if you were in a position, like Isabel just said, where you don't even hear yourself kinda saying the negativity or the self-doubt, like, kind of start taking tabs on yourself almost of throughout the day, and you're not gonna get every single moment, but if you it's like if I ask you how many red cars are on the street and you put the red cars in your brain, you're going to see a lot more red cars. So
Mhm.
if you ask yourself, how many times am I saying a negative thought to myself? You're going to start to notice the negativity more. So if
Yeah.
you put it, I don't want to say put negativity at the forefront of your brain, but if you put how you're speaking to yourself at the forefront, you're going to recognize the words that you use with yourself a whole lot more. And then that's how you
Impossible
grow
to
from it.
miss, and you are probably gonna be disgusted. I don't know, the first day that I really listened to myself, I was like, "Wow, how
Terrible.
dare I be that rude, that mean, like,
Mhm.
so unloving to myself."
Yeah.
Like, I'm Isabel Kraus, I never wanna hear myself speak that again,
Mhm.
and once you really start to pay attention, like, you sort of almost foster a self-love and a self-appreciation for yourself that you're like, "I don't deserve those words."
Mhm.
And I think that's the best outcome from it is when you learn, like, to really like, it hurts to recognize them at first, but it means that growth is coming.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, whether you're having self-doubt about building a business or just self-doubt about who you are as a person on the inside, like you said, the best thing to come from listening to how you speak to yourself is just more self-love and more self-respect. And at the end of the day, like that's really what I want is full self-love and
Yeah.
full self-respect to hold myself to the highest standard. Like that sound that went viral of if I asked you to write a list of how like all the things you love in life, how long would it take to write you? Like I want to get to the point when I first heard that I was like, damn, that didn't even cross my mind. I like immediately
Yeah.
started thinking about like Isabel, Joseph, Xander, mom,
Crazy.
like right? Like I don't
Yeah.
think and I was like, oh my God, I don't know. I do love myself, but I didn't even think about that. Now I'm getting to the point where like, no, I would be first. Like it
Yeah.
would be God.
Like,
It
I
would
love
be
myself the most in the world.
yeah, exactly, like, I would have a good s list going, and I would be on that list. So
Yeah.
just kinda getting to that point, like, you might not wanna start a business, that might not be your MO, and that's okay, but what do you say about yourself for the inside and the external too? Like, how do you speak to about your body, about your hair, your face, your arms, legs, like, all of that is so important in life, and it sets the foundation for whatever you're going to do, like how you're going to raise a family, how you're going to be in your job with your boss. Like you
Yeah.
don't want to get walked all over. You might not want to be the boss, but you don't want to be stomped on by one.
Yeah.
It's like how you hold your ground.
And if you don't love like fully love yourself, not to get into that topic, but if you don't, like, your confidence will never be there.
Mhm.
You will always have those feelings of doubt, and they will probably overcome you because you don't even love yourself enough to believe that you could do it.
Exactly.
So I think that's why self-love is so important. And I want to also point out that what I'm realizing is even the most confident people still have, these feelings of maybe not like that, not that high of self love, but still feelings of negativity towards themselves. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they don't love themselves. It doesn't mean that they're not confident. I feel like, honestly, Kateri, you and I like come to mind when I think of this because, we're not like, we're not okay, we're not an Elon Musk in success. Yes, I know
Mhm.
that. But in confidence, I think we are two pretty damn confident girls. And
Mhm.
I know for speaking for myself, I know I'm confident. I always tell myself like every room I walk into, I demand like
Mhm.
I I have no doubt about who I am as a person. Like I'm just confident in who I am.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that sometimes I'm not going to get caught up in, oh, like my skin's bad right now. Oh, my hair looks thin. Like, why isn't it looking pretty? Or like, you know what? I didn't look that good last night. Like, it's natural. It's common. And especially in the world we live in, they always put those thoughts at you.
Mhm.
Almost like with social media and all of that, like, you're not as pretty as the next girl. And it doesn't mean you're not confident. So I just want to point out that even the successful people, even the people that you think are so unbelievably competent, still have these thoughts. They just really choose to not believe them. And
Mhm.
that's what sets them apart.
Well, and I think that's a great point because we are very confident people. And how we got here is taking the steps to prove to ourselves, like, we are who we say we are and we are who we think we are, right?
Yeah.
So, like, thinking really highly of ourselves and proving that to ourselves that, no, we do deserve the utmost respect and we do
Yeah.
command a room when we walk into because that's how we carry ourselves. Because I have a list of things that I can, if someone asked me, I could whip out and tell them exactly, "Oh, what did you do this morning to get the body that you want?" Well, let me go ahead and tell you because I sure as
Yeah.
heck didn't sleep in till 9:30 in the morning, wake up and eat a McDonald's breakfast wrap. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, we
Yep.
have things to
No,
prove to
yeah, that's a
ourselves that
really
yeah, like, people are like, "Oh, you guys are very confident," and I love hearing that compliment, it's amazing, and that they're like, "How do you get there?" It's like I can't give you the rule book on how to get there, but I can tell you what I did, and I can tell you that you need to do a lot more to get there, right? Like,
yeah,
you're not gonna wake up day feeling the most confident if you're not doing anything to prove it to yourself. It all
exactly.
comes back to that.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I'm having a revelation. Like, I always have revelations. I always tell
Mhm.
Kateri where she normally says a thought and then it kind of like sparks a spiral of thoughts in my head and immediately comes to a conclusion. And my conclusion is already just like, you need to show up for yourself, because there are so many times when I do notice my like doubt or my I low confidence, and I'm like, what is going on that I feel low confidence? And I'm like, you know what? I didn't show up for myself today. Like, I slept in and I missed the gym today. And I
Mhm.
immediately noticed like, okay, there is some times where you can take a break and be nice to yourself. But when I am off of routine or am off of my discipline, I notice how my confidence dwindles, and it's because
Mhm.
I'm not showing up for myself. And
Yeah.
when it's so easy for me to walk into the gym and feel confident when I know I go every day. I know I put in the work. I know I go on an hour walk every day. Like, I deserve to feel good in my body because I do the work to feel good.
Mhm.
And I don't have a second thought about it, because if the work is there, then the results are there. And
Exactly.
that that's just the easiest way to prove and like I think uplift your confidence and really increase it. Like, if you want to be confident in yourself, then go prove yourself right.
Mhm. Well, and to kind of like wrap it all together, I there's a quote from Jordan Peterson who
Love Jordan
yeah,
Peterson.
he's really great and has so many things I like save on Instagram all the time. But one of the quotes he said, and it's I'll kind of say two that go hand in hand with each other. He said, "You are always afraid except when you learn not to be." And then he said, when we are exposed to what we are afraid of, we get less afraid of everything. So if you're afraid
Yeah.
of, looking at yourself in the mirror because you don't love your body, or failing at the job and getting fired, it's like, okay, once you get fired, you get less afraid the next time because you've been there, done that. Or
Yeah.
once you look in the mirror and you kind of bite the bullet that, wow, you know what, maybe my body has changed because I let my health slip. Like,
Mhm.
not looking at the physical so much, but, I don't move my body and I do eat like shit and I don't home cook meals to fuel my body to feel good. That's kind of like the rock bottom. So now that you've been through that, everything else gets less scary because it's only up from here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just use that as like the fuel. And I don't mean to be rude in the sense of like looking at yourself in the mirror and not liking what you see, but that's human nature to do. And
Yeah.
that's okay. You're allowed to not be happy with your body.
Well, and I think that really emphasizes the point of, not to bring in a different topic, but getting outside of your comfort zone. Like,
Mhm.
that's why people say your comfort zone will kill you, because you're never exposed to anything new to
Mhm.
kind of like level you up and make you less afraid. So then you're always living in the fear of the things that make you uncomfortable. Like,
Mhm.
that's why people say get comfortable with the uncomfortable, because in order to be able to do it next time and not feel uncomfortable, you need to go through the uncomfort first.
Mhm.
It's necessary. You're never going to do something first and know everything and be fully comfortable. But when you learn how to deal with it, how to work through it, it's a lot better the next time.
Yeah,
It's
the next time around, it's not as
enjoyable.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's like, giving a presentation in class. Like, the first time I ever gave like, a hour presentation, I was petrified. After it, I literally feel like I am the most confident in the classroom whenever I walk in.
Mhm.
I literally sit front row in every class. I raise my hand in 200 people lectures. I'm always volunteering, like, because I spent an hour presenting in front of people that I was petrified to do. And
Mhm.
now I just broke that discomfort. You know what I mean? I
Exactly.
don't know.
Yeah.
That's just like the simplest example I can think of in my life where I'm like, I did something uncomfortable and it
Mhm.
fully made me comfortable doing it now.
Yeah. Well, and, like, one more kind of thing to say about the event last night is the woman that was being interviewed, her biggest tip was you can't be afraid. Like, you have to be brave and you have to have the grit to just like take the risk and do what it is that you're thinking about doing. Because, yeah, you might make a lot of mistakes along the way, but you're going to learn from those mistakes and you're only going to get better. And when you go to take the next risk, it's going to be less scary because you've been here before. Like, you've done
Yeah.
that. You've gotten rejected before, or you failed at something and you learned how to do it right. So you like have that foundation to kind of stand on. And then the
Yeah.
next time it doesn't feel as scary because, yeah, you've been through something way worse or similar before. And now you know how to handle it and kind of go on from there.
Exactly. So, key takeaway there. If it feels uncomfortable, that means you should do it.
Mhm.
And that's normally how I get myself to do it, because doing something uncomfortable is obviously very difficult to push yourself to do it. But once I recognize that it's uncomfortable for me, I don't allow myself to not do it. I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
doing this because it's uncomfortable. Like literally that date, I got asked on a date and I was like, oh, like I don't want to go. And then
Personal life.
and then I told Kateria, I said, I literally texted my mom and our mom, Kateria and my mom, and I literally texted in the group chat and was like, I don't want to go on this date because I'm nervous and I'm anxious about it. And I'm like worried, what if the conversation's not good? All the typical stuff. And then I said, and it's because of that I have to go on the date.
Yeah,
And like,
literally.
that is literally what I do in all aspects of my life now. And
Mhm.
it's just like, it's just exactly what you were just saying. And I'm like, it's the only way. It's the only way that you're going to grow.
Yeah, so, like, it literally can be applied to any of
Literally anything. That's why I needed to share
like,
that.
this has nothing to do with Isabel's business side, it has something to do with her relationship side, so she needs that.
Yeah.
But yes, so we just kind of wanted to talk about this because I was fueled from last night's event and is when I had a great conversation after. And obviously sharing that with you guys, as always, like that's the goal is kind of go through these things and share it with you because I want you guys growing alongside us. I know we both really want that. And the goal is, to get to that next level all together and to lift each other up while we're getting there. Like this isn't Isabel and I against everyone else and we're trying to, beat everyone. It's like, no, I want everyone there alongside with us
I want
because
everyone to overcome their self-doubt.
yeah,
Everyone to believe in their wildest dreams. I want you all to dream delusionally and fully believe it. That's
Mhm.
what we're working towards, and that's what we're all going to get to. I know we are.
Exactly.
I have no doubt that we will get there.
Nice one
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But yes, so we hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you have any advice on how you kind of overcome that self-doubt or negativity, you can drop it on our Instagram page in the comments on the post that we do when we launch an episode, just so other people can get inspired and see how other people kind of overcome self-doubt because not what we say might not be the only way, and I know it's not the only way. And keep building this community, keep lifting people up, and let's do it together.
Yeah.
So Isabel, tell them what to do.
Like, wait, it's so weird without
Oh,
having
we
to-
never even said the beginning part.
Oh.
So that's what we wanted to mention is last week we said we wanted your advice on if we should pre-record our intro or just do it fresh every time. And we decided that when we are recording virtually, it's going to be a pre-recorded thing. And when we're together, we'll bring the energy of being together and give it to you live. So that's what we're going to do.
Because truthfully, it's just not the same alone. Like
Well, and
singing
like
that
Isabel's
jingle
in
right
her
now.
apartment and her one roommate's asleep. Like, what is she going to do? Scream, no shigare? No sugar, no sugar mama.
I know now I'm like, oh my God, I want to do it. But I just like want to look over and see you doing it with me.
Yeah, like it's
So it's
hard.
upsetting when I'm like alone. I'm like, I don't want to sing this right
Yeah.
now. It's not the same.
Exactly. But anyway, Isabel.
So I will tell you guys what to do. Don't you worry. Like, subscribe, comment, follow, interact with us, please. We love you. You love us. Let's grow together. Let's lift each other up and let's all become the best versions of ourselves.
Amen to that, sister.
Amen.
So we hope you have an amazing rest of your week and you just continue to crush your goals and keep working towards all of the things you want to achieve in this beautiful life.
Yes.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let Jacob Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call Jacob Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.